So today in this video, we will be tackling the problem with democracy in the Philippines. So let us tackle the basic concept on what democracy is. So it originated back in ancient Greece and is a system in which all members are eligible for voting and the majority of the votes is what confirms the final decision. All around the world, democracy has been perceived as the good kind of government ensuring freedom. Unfortunately, this is not always the case because democracy does not always lead to success. So some of the famous theorizers of democracy, namely Plato and Aristotle, theorized that generally, democracy is the rule of the mob and appealing to whatever they want. And of course, this has mostly led to chaos and disorder because the people usually prioritize their selfish interests over the common good. This is the reason why the Philippines just cannot have a democracy. So the Philippines itself is already facing a large amount of problems, which can already be the formula for its own destruction. And the reason behind this is because of the leaders that make the decisions for our country, which are sadly, of course, elected by the Filipino people. And so the main reason behind all of this is because of the poor education that our country offers and the highly influential individuals yet inexperienced and unqualified who run for office during the elections. But to be fair, the Philippines does offer quality education, except the problem with this is that it is only accessible to the wealthy, and unfortunately, only a small percentage of the Philippine population can access this kind of education, which of course leaves the needy prone to lies and misinformation. Don't get me wrong, almost all the politicians in the world lie, but in comparison, it just seems that some of our politicians are not really the most qualified, experienced, and also possessing good moral character for the job. A perfect example of this would be Manny Pacquiao. He became a world-famous boxer and became the most popular Filipino in the world. With this, he was able to become senator even with very minimal political experience. But of course, Pacquiao must be commended as a boxer and not as a politician. These days in the Philippines, some of the voters have already lost the importance of education, political experience and beliefs, and good moral character for politicians and use their image and popularity as a basis instead. And with this, we realize that they choose their candidate impulsively based on their love for the candidate and not for the love of the country. So in the end, how will we solve this political problem? And if democracy will not work, what will? So in the Nordic countries in Europe, namely Finland, Sweden, and Norway, is a form of political ideology called democratic socialism. So what is democratic socialism? This is the political ideology that believes that welfare goods for the people, namely education, healthcare, and retirement funds, are the goods that are needed to be distributed by the government alone. With this kind of government, we will be able to develop a better education for the masses that will be the first step to the better selection of our future leaders that will run this country. The need to educate our voters is now more imperative than ever. It makes us sick to realize knowing that there are some voters out there that vote without actually knowing who the candidate is or what they can do. We believe that education is the best solution for most of our country's problems. It's not an absolute solution, but it is the first step in ensuring we practice the right type of democracy. Education can play a big role in electing the right candidate for the job because of the potential abuse democracy can bring. After all, Dr. Frederick Danen once said that democracy is the counting of the head and not what's in them. For those who still do not agree, Winston Churchill said the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. I genuinely wish anyone good luck if you ever choose to have a 5-minute political conversation with some of the Filipino masses. Maybe then people will realize the reason of our currently elected politicians.
Created using Powtoon.